Running. There's something truly powerful about it. It unites people, propels us forward, and inspires us to push past limits we thought impossible. It helps us face our fears, embrace challenges, and discover parts of ourselves we never knew existed. And along the way, it offers some of life's most exhilarating natural highs.
I just don't know why people run. It's just hard and not fun.
Yeah, running can be pretty hard sometimes. Whether you're new to running or someone who's been at it for years, there are days when every step feels like a struggle. So if you've ever thought, why does running feel so hard? Don't worry, you're not alone.
So let's give you 5 reasons why running can feel hard sometimes, both physically and psychologically, and then 5 methods to make it feel a whole lot easier.
So the first question to ask yourself is, am I pushing myself too hard? Whether you're a beginner runner all the way up to advanced elite runner, you're going to have a baseline level of fitness which your body is conditioned to.
Yeah, when you start pushing beyond that, it's going to feel hard. We often talk about the rate of perceived exertion. That is a subjective scale that measures the intensity of your physical activity.
Yeah, and there are lots of physical indicators that you can use too, like increased sweating, increased breathing, if speaking feels a little bit harder, and they're all good signs that your body is working that little bit harder.
It's starting to get a bit harder to speak now, actually.
And we're going downhill.
Learning to gauge effort based on feel takes time, but it is a valuable skill. If you're finding that when you go for an easy run you're struggling to talk, or your heart rate is higher than usual, it might not be that easy after all.
Or if you're struggling to hit certain paces or distances, or you're finding it harder to breathe or perform than what you expect, then this is a sign that you're overreaching and your body is working harder than what it's conditioned to.
So the big question is, how do you do this? Well, you've got to slow down and you've got to reassess. Coaching apps like Runner, they use AI to basically figure out if your pace is a bit off, and they can adjust it based on your recent activities.
Yeah, you should be able to be honest though with yourself and figure out whether you are going out a little bit too hard or a little bit too fast. The main way you're going to benefit is by taking a step back and then gradually building up to where you want to be, which is what I need to tell myself every single time I label an easy run on Strava when I've done it with Andy.
Do you know what? Secondly, poor running form can have a huge effect on how hard running feels. So tensing up, hunching your shoulders together, overstriding, these all take more energy, which have a big impact on your running economy.
Yeah, and small tweaks to your running form can make a huge difference too. So try things like relaxing your arms and shoulders, shortening your stride potentially, and just keeping your posture up tall, and that could help make running feel a little bit easier.
Thirdly, we have muscle imbalances and weaknesses, so weak calves, weak glutes, tight hip flexors, and general poor core stability means that your body is constantly trying to battle with itself to overcompensate.
Strength training is a game changer, I promise. Exercises like squats, lunges, glute bridges, and calf raises will make you a stronger runner and can help you avoid injury too. But most importantly, it will help running feel so much easier because your lower body muscles will be able to cope with additional stresses.
Ultimately, I had to get myself into strength and conditioning because I was in a pretty tight spot. I'd had multiple surgeries, I'd been on crutches for almost a year, and I needed that strength and conditioning to get me back running. In fact, I pretty much wouldn't be here, Sarah, if I hadn't done as much as I did. But it's not ideal to do it that way. Ideally, you'll get out there, do your strength and conditioning while you're training.
Yeah, and then you won't have to take such a big gap. We're actually running in the exact spot where you did your first run after all that time out as well. But next up, fueling and hydration. If you're not doing this right, then you are going to find running that bit harder. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so bonking or hitting the wall, they're terms that are often used in long distance running like half marathons and marathons. And it's often when your body is overexerting yourself, maybe because you haven't had enough access to food and water.
But making sure you're well fueled and hydrated is key for every single run you take on. If you're struggling through your runs, it might be a sign that you're not eating the right food at the right time.
The amount you eat will depend on how far you're running. If it's an easy 30 to 60 minute run, and a small snack will be fine for most people. But if it's a 3-hour long run or a long race, then you're going to need something more substantial.
And finally, sleep and recovery. Now, Rick is always moaning about his lack of sleep due to his kids.
Sleep is the main reason why you will find your recovery is hard. And you know what? I'm not actually moaning, Sarah. Every single parent who is watching this will agree with me that not having a good night's sleep and then having a big day the next day is absolutely brutal. And remember, I am right 50% of the time.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I have a puppy and those 3 a.m. wake-ups to take him for a wee are brutal.
A puppy? It's really not the same thing.
I think it is.
It's not. Anyway, seriously, sleep is a superpower. And if you don't get enough of it, your body's not only going to be fighting the run, but also fighting fatigue.
So getting enough sleep allows your body to repair tissue and build muscle in order for you to return to peak performance more quickly. But conversely, if you don't get enough sleep, sometimes this can lead to an increase of injury, or you can risk illness as well. And most importantly, it can affect your recovery too.
Yeah, if you feel more tired than usual or your sleep is affected somehow, it's super important to actually prioritize your recovery over your running, because sleep affects your mood, your energy levels, and ultimately, by building that back up, you're going to improve your performance.
Okay, so 3 quick tips if you do struggle with your sleep. Think about how you're using your phone. Try and get rid of any screen time before bed.
It's tough.
It can have such a big impact on your sleep.
Everyone does it.
Try and get into a good sleep routine. Start your wind down, have something set in place. For me personally, I like to be kind of getting ready for bed at least half an hour before I'm actually going to go to sleep, so I can wind down, have a quick cuddle with my dog, and then nice and gently go off to sleep.
I thought you said wind down, not wind down there for a second, but you could do that as well. Yeah, it might help. Do you know what? Another thing is avoid caffeine 6 to 8 hours before you go to sleep. That's a lot longer than I thought it would be.
See, I just don't have caffeine at all, no problems. Sleep like that.
Look at you.
So we've covered some of the physical challenges that might make running feel hard, but what about the psychological ones?
Yeah, there are going to be times in running, and I'd say more than many sports, that it is such a mental battle as much as it is a physical one. And there will be times when you are out there pounding the pavements that your mind is telling you to stop, but your body is like, let's just keep going.
Yeah, sometimes you might feel like you're the only one that's faced psychological challenges, or that you're alone in this, but I can assure you, you are absolutely not. We're all human, and here at the Running Channel, we have all faced psychological challenges with running throughout our running journey. So we are going to go through some of the struggles that we've faced and how to overcome them.
I'll go this way then, shall I?
Okay. So negative self-talk can be a huge thing that affects loads of runners, myself included. I recently took on a 5k challenge to try and break 20 minutes for the first time, and in attempts number 1 and 2, negative self-talk played a huge part in me ultimately not hitting the goal. If you find yourself telling yourself I'm not this runner, or I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, then it can really have a negative effect on your run, and it can make it feel so much harder. And especially if you're going for something like a PB, you want to make all the things that can feel easy. So it's not easy to do, but reframing this feels really hard to I'm doing something for the first time, or I can't do this, to I'm trying to do this, can make all of the difference. I love Jess has a really great motto of believe that you can, decide that you will, and I think that perfectly encapsulates the fact that the only person who can talk you out of it is you. So try and overcome that negative self-talk. It takes a while, but for attempt number 3 for my sub 20, I got it. So you can get there.
The second thing that can make running seem really hard is mental load, whether that's anxiety, stress, the weather, life factors. All of those things can make it really difficult actually. So before Christmas, I was dealing with a family bereavement and the fact that the weather was grey and wet and dark. And all of those things just made running feel so much more difficult, either getting out the door in the first place, or when I was out on the runs, it felt physically harder than it should have been. And that's normal, that's your body's response to stress and dealing with difficult situations. And so it feels hard. And how I dealt with that was by treating running as therapy. But By that I mean trying to run with other people and talk to them about the problems that I was experiencing, and therefore using it as therapy. It's much easier to open up about the things that are difficult in your life when you're looking straight ahead and trying not to fall over tree roots and stuff than when you're sitting across a table from someone face to face. And I also just took the pressure off myself. I decided if all this stuff was going on in my life, I was going to use running as a force for good and not worry about how fast I was running or what my heart rate was, because all of those markers were irrelevant for me. I needed to get out for running to maintain my fitness and actually just to maintain my mental health. And I guess remember, all of these things shall pass. It doesn't feel awful forever. And if you use it in the right way, running can be a great way to pick you up from those dark times. The Running Channel Club was designed for exactly this purpose as well. There's a tribe within the club dedicated to motivating people, to lifting you up when you're feeling a little bit down. There are people in the club from all over the world. You've all experienced bad days as well. And so it's amazing to see people lifting each other up and powering people through with extra motivation to help them to come out the other side.
If you know me, you'll know that I find running bloody hard, which really affects my motivation to do it, quite frankly, all the time. Probably with the exception of intervals. I like those because, you know, you get to walk and have a little rest in between them. But your long runs and all of the rest of the running, I really struggle to get out of the door. But the more I do it, and the more I've become accustomed to this lovely sport called running, is that I found that you need to have a why. That why could be because I want to get fitter. That why could be because I really like the idea of being a better runner. That why could be because you want to be fit and healthy for your kids. I don't know, it just could be anything.
Okay, so I know there's loads of hard things about running, but why is one of the hardest things just get yourself out the door? I think the thought of doing a hard session or a race that scares us is actually something that really holds us back. And it's crazy that in a race we can feel like we've put absolutely everything out there on the line. We feel like our legs absolutely can't carry us any further. And you see the finish line and somehow you're doing a sprint finish. Mindset is a powerful thing. I think there's so many times in races as well where I've just got to a point where I've been like, nope, you don't deserve to be here. And you bring yourself down, and it's all about flicking the switch. I think if you look at everyone out there on the internet and try and copy exactly what they're doing, you will just be unhappy and you'll be comparing yourself to people who are in a very different position to you. Do you know, even if someone is training for exactly the same race as you, you're not going to be doing the same training sessions as them. So don't try and copy them or do them exactly as they did them. Just make sure that you're adapting it so that it is specific to you as well. And I think that can be really hard. Like when you're injured, you're looking at yourself and comparing to other people. Like I'm injured right now and I'm thinking, oh, I'm missing out. I'm getting behind, or whatever negative thought you're thinking. But realistically, I'm not getting behind on anyone else because I'm not comparing to anyone else. There's no need to look at what anyone else is doing in a negative way.
Expecting too much too soon. This has been one of the big deals that I had in my recovery. If you're not seeing the progress you'd like, then getting out can actually begin to feel like a chore. I had to take it really, really slowly. And when I say slowly, I like to build it up by just running 5 meters, 10 meters, eventually my first 100 meters over the course of about 3 months. And when you're going that slowly, you're just getting frustrated that it's not going quicker. And for me, that was when I really began to feel some of the mental frustration that came with not getting where I wanted to be. So you've got to manage those expectations and just thinking about, well, you know what? This is progress. I'm going in the right direction. And you've got to be satisfied with it. And another big thing when it comes to the psychology of running is adjusting to the elements. So turning up on race day and you've trained when it's freezing and it's boiling hot. So you have to prepare yourself and think, well, the weather might be a bit different, but you know, I'm prepared for that. That might happen and I can deal with it. Whether that's bringing an extra layer or simply maybe just getting out earlier in the morning some days and dealing with those different conditions, or in reverse, running in the middle of the day just in case when it comes to race day it is that little bit warmer.
Right, well hopefully that's shown you why running can feel really hard, but we've given you some solutions to make it feel that little bit easier.
Yeah, and if you like this video, have a look at this one where I took on an interval session, a really big interval session for the Hackney Half Marathon, and it really was a psychological chore.